Hey guys, this is Wolé Parks. I play John Henry Irons on Superman and Lois, and you are watching Pop Culture with Pat.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So I am super excited today to be joined by today's guests. Today I am talking all things Superman and Lois with Wolé Parks, who plays John Henry Irons on the show. Thank you for coming on the show today, Wolé.
No problem. Thank you for having me, dude.
Of course. So to start things off, I wanted to ask you, kind of going back. So it's funny thing is, I recently actually just got into this show, like literally probably a couple weeks ago. I finally got into the show and I binge watched this thing, like the whole series in about week and a half ish.
So honestly, you probably know more about the show than I do at this point because you got it all in 1 week. I've had like years of it.
Yeah, it was like very, very small window, compacted, but I just started watching it. I was like, man, like I can't believe like it took this long to start watching the show. So we're on season 3 now, but I wanted to go back to the beginning, for you. When you first got this role, what was your prep like? Because you got this character that he's in a suit a lot. He's got a military history. He's got history in the comics. So I was curious, like, what was your prep like once you knew what the character was going into the show?
No, that's a great question. So yeah, you're right. He's in a suit a lot. Actually, the first episode, you never see me. I don't. That's not me. There's a guy named Warren who used to do this suit originally. For like that, the first 2 episodes. Who's not who? That's him in the suit. And there's a guy. I think there's a shot of me from, or like supposedly me from the back of a bald head. That's not me either. Because at the time, Warren is a guy. Warren's like 6'6". Okay, so he's huge. I'm not 6'6". I'm like 5'11". So I couldn't fit his suit. They only had 1 suit at the time. So like they tried to put me in it and it looked like I was like a baby trying to fit like their parents' clothes. So they had to fly somebody out, a head double, to use his head to film the back. So yeah, it's kind of weird. So it's just funny because prep for the first episode was weird just because I didn't do anything in the first episode. You never see me. But as far as the character work is concerned, once I found out about his backstory, because originally I didn't know I was John Henry Irons. I got cast, I think, in March of 2020. Then, of course, the pandemic happens, and then we don't shoot anything, and we start shooting, I think, in October of that year. So I had some time, and over the break, like they let me know Ty Helbing, our showrunner at the time, he hit me up and he's like, dude, this is who you are. You're not Lex. You're like John Henry Irons, blah, blah, blah. And he tells me the backstory. So for me, I loved it. I mean, I knew the comics. I read Superman comics growing up. I reread the whole Death of Superman arc once I got cast. I watched like all of Justice League Unlimited and all that stuff back again. But for me, once I found out about his past, what I started doing actually was looking into PTSD and trauma with vets, because that's how I wanted to approach the guy. I respect what the comics did, but we're doing a different version of him. So I needed to respect his story and his journey. And I thought that I could really tap into some of it there. So that was the main crux to my research, is like kind of seeing how they deal with that and how to get through that and work through trauma.
Yeah, and I was actually, you answered. I was gonna follow up with, did you dig back into that? I know you said, because I know you're a comic fan, you were growing up, but I was curious if you dug back into the comics, and then also did you watch any things? I know it's the other universe, but did you watch any of the Iron Man movies or anything like that to maybe see what Robert Downey Jr. did? Or
Here's the funny thing, so yeah, I've watched a bunch of the Marvel movies, I haven't seen all of them now because there's so many, but no, I will tell you, I have a newfound respect for Robert Downey Jr. because when I have to do the in the helmet stuff, which he did all the time, he made it look so good. For me, it's just me in a black. You're in a pitch black room. It's a studio, but they turn all the lights off. The camera's right here. It's literally like this close to my face, and there's a little light above it, and that's it. So everything, they're like, okay, so Superman's over there. Now he gets hit. Now you got to go down. Now you got to help him out. Now this one's over there. Nat's over there. You got to envision the entire thing. So my hats go off to him, because it's actually the hardest thing I have to do on the show, because I have to create the entire world in my mind.
Yeah,
and act off of it. It's weird, but I'm used to it now. But it's the most difficult thing. It takes the most prep.
No, yeah, I can imagine for sure just being by yourself in a room, just like nothing else like going on. You're like, okay, I just have to pretend there's like this epic battle going on or something like that
Literally.
right now.
And of course, because it's TV, we do all of them all at once. So
Yeah.
they're like, okay, this part, just keep going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, no big deal.
Oh,
So we've seen John grow over the past, couple of seasons. How has playing this character helped you and grow and evolve as a person in real life?
oh wow, that's a really good question. I think the way I approach acting is, there's you and there's the character. And they merge at some place. I feel like the better for me as an actor, I want to always go further towards the character rather than bring all the characters to myself, because I feel if I do that, then that's just me being lazy and be playing myself. So I've had to kind of merge the two. And what's been interesting is going through his journey of grief and learning acceptance. Like that to me is what kind of been like his arc for certain, overall arc for the show and overall arc for certain seasons was season one, letting go of the past and not blaming himself. Because that's how I took it. I felt like he blamed himself for everything. And that's why he came to this planet to get revenge and sort of avenge Natalie's death and his Lois's death and everyone on that planet by helping this one. So for me, once he learned to accept that, I think he was able to then learn to move on. And that was something which I take in my life. I think we might not be able to forgive ourselves for things that we've done in the past, but we can learn to accept them and move on and learn from that. So I try to incorporate that into my life nowadays.
Yeah, no, and that's definitely something that's, very important. What's been your favorite aspect of John to explore over these first couple of seasons, and where else or what else would you like to tackle with the character, or like where else would you like to see the character go in potential future seasons?
No, it's good. It's been interesting because it kind of depends on where we are. Like, season one was obviously very heavy. It was really intense. Like as an actor was great. It was a great exercise. Like, it's like he's so intense dealing with all this stuff. And, I've got the trauma of like my wife is dead, but here's this version of my wife who I can't tell is my wife, all these things. And that to juggle as an actor, it's fun, but it's
a
heavy.
lot.
It's a lot. So season two, then it was about like him and his bond with Natalie and like learning to be a single dad and all that. So I've consciously wanted to make him a little lighter. I've wanted him to sort of go through the journey of like finding, okay, like how 3 years in now, or 3 seasons and however long, I don't know how long it's been as far as the show is concerned, but like how does he fit into this world? How does he fit into this universe? And it's been interesting. I will say I was lightening him up, but Bruno Mannheim's bringing him right back down. So
yeah, I know it's like poor John just can't catch a break like on the show. It's just
dude, and I'm gonna tell you, Pat, it's gonna get darker and darker. Bruno and John they're going at it real hard this season.
Jeez, man. If hopefully, like, once we get to the point of like, whenever the show, like, hopefully, like years down the road, once it's like wrapping up, I hope at some point, one of the seasons, like you just get to finally get some nice, relaxing moments as like the character after all, all that he's been through.
Yeah, like actually, what would be kind of fun to see like John and Clark just go on like a kind of goofy day. Because like one of the things I love about what Tyler does on the character, I love how he plays Clark. I feel like that's the guy, and Superman's kind of the alter ego. Like I love the sort of the gee golly willikers, that sort of like that vibe of him, that almost beautiful naivete that he brings. And I would love if like John could have some of that, but not right now.
Yeah, I said no, not right now. And so talk to me about, working in the suit. So we talked a little bit about it, the beginning of the interview. I by the way, I love how the suit looks. Like it looks amazing on screen. So what was it like stepping into it for the first time? And what has it been like playing that or stepping into it for the rest of the series? I imagine there's definitely been challenges with it because it looks like it's a pretty big thing. So just kind of what's that been like?
It is. It looks good on TV. Thank Jesus, because walking around in there, I look like an idiot. Like everyone jokes because I can't sneak around because like I can't really walk. Like like it's really big, so I kind of like waddle as I go along. You know what I mean? And like I'm squeaking, and so everyone always jokes like, "Oh yeah, you can't sneak by." Just everyone makes fun.
Here comes Wolé.
But no. But the first time though was really cool, just because like the idea of you putting on a suit, and like you're eager, like as an actor, like I don't know, I'm one of those actors who like wants to be a stuntman, but like not really, like you know what I mean, like it's so. Yeah, I respect that. We got like Rob Hader and our Sun team is amazing. And actually, to be honest, like going forward now, Stephen Akolu, he's the one who actually is in the suit 95% of the time. And he does a fantastic job. He's really, really good. He really brings it to life. Like in episode 4, when John Henry's looking for his sister, he falls through that through the building and tries to like in the garage and all that. That's all him, and he does an amazing job. Because right now, listen, I ain't going front. The luster is worn off.
couple
episode 1. Yes, like whenever I first put it on, I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." By now, I'm like, "Oh my god."
I imagine that thing is where it's so big. I imagine it's like pretty heavy too. So just to like have that on you, shooting for hours at times, doing certain scenes. So
dude, season 1 we had a heat wave. It was like, so this is like July of 2021. Yeah, something like it's June, July or whatever. I don't know if there was like a huge heat wave across the country, like 100 degrees everywhere and all this stuff. We're shooting, it's midnight. It's like 85 degrees or 90 degrees. And I'm in the suit outside and I'm just sweating. I mean, dude, I'm just sweating. And it was one of those ones where I'm just like, just finish. Let's finish. I don't want to talk.
Can we just get this thing done, please?
Exactly.
So obviously, yeah, John Henry Irons, he's no stranger to action in the series. You got a number of really awesome like action scenes. What have been some of your favorite action-based scenes to film in the series so far up to this point?
Yeah, definitely jumping off the building was hilarious in episode 4. That whole thing, they used my stunt double Dallas as another stunt double. He's my stunt double who's when I'm not in the suit. And again, he's a great guy. His was the take they utilized to show, because my take wasn't very graceful with that. I did it.
We can't use
but
that.
It wasn't very good. But I'll say actually there's a couple of things going forward. Episode 8 and 9, there's some really cool stuff. I'll say it this way: I'm not giving anything away, but it's the thing about this John Henry Irons, which is cool compared to the comics, is that he has a military background, so he knows how to fight without the suit on. So you're going to start seeing John get into fights without the suit. You're going to see him kicking some butt. So and also getting his butt kicked. So yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up.
That's cool. Excited to see that. Yeah, and especially like outside of the suit, because we've seen a lot of your actions been in the suit so far up to this point. So yeah, I know, like without going into any like specifics or anything, did you have to do any kind of like fight training or anything like that to prepare for those specific scenes?
Oh yeah, no. Like I said, Rob Hader, who runs the stunt department, he's got some amazing people who work with him. A guy named Kirk. He takes everybody who like just wants to practice and rehearse or whatever. He goes through that. Like he gave me some apparatuses to take home to practice with. Gotcha. Apparatuses. I don't know. Either way, you'll see. It all makes sense as when we see stuff.
Yeah, can't wait to see it for sure. So yeah, you're a big fan of the comics, big fan of like superheroes. So I'm curious, what was the moment that you most geeked out on while you were reading a script or shooting an episode?
Oh, dude, you got good questions. Okay, here's the funny thing. Like, I geek out because unlike probably most of the cast, here's what happens as an actor on the show. As a series regular, the showrunners sit you down at the beginning of the season and say, this is what we're going to do for your character. This is the arc. I don't get that. I tell them, I don't want to know. Tell me only things that I need to know to portray it right now. But tell me, because I want to read the script. So I remember last season, I think it was episode 4. It was like when we first saw Bizarro fight Clark. Like we're at the farm and like I come in, I think I throw the hammer and they explode. I remember reading all that, and I remember like seeing the thing he had on him or whatever. And I was like, wait. I remember reading. I was like, wait, is he using a mother box? Is that a boom tube? I was like, oh my god. And I reached out to Todd. I was like, is this what's going on? Is Granny Goodness coming? What's happening? Like I freaked out. It wasn't Granny Goodness, but it wasn't. But Todd was like, "Dude, you have an active imagination. That would be really cool." but
He's
it's
like,
not.
hey, he's like, we need to get you in the writer room. You got some really good ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my stuff kind of happened just like the idea of what I think is happening, but then like, yeah, on the script, it might be something different. It's just fun to be a fan and work on the show.
Now, I'm curious for you, where you are such a big fan too. Do you have any of the other actors on the show? Do they come up to you and ask you questions about what happens in the comics or specific things that are happening?
That has happened before. People are like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "This is blah blah blah." They're like, "Oh, okay." I mean, like, I don't remember specific instances, but like, yeah, like
Yeah.
there have been ones where you're just like, "What is this leading? What is this about?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is the comics." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So yeah,
So
it
you're
does
like
happen.
the one of the go-to guys on the set.
Yeah,
So
I'm one of the go-to nerds. Yeah,
that
yeah.
must be fun. Yeah. So Tayler Buck, she plays your daughter in the show, Natalie. Can you talk a little bit about like what it's been like developing that relationship between those two characters, and then just also developing the relationship between you guys, in real life?
Yeah. No, it's interesting. So the first episode you see Taylor in episode 7 of season 1, where he had that whole thing where you got John Henry's backstory. Interesting thing about that was during COVID. And like this is why, obviously everyone knows they shoot in Vancouver. And that was back when they were quarantining people for 2 weeks, anytime we crossed the border. So we didn't meet until we got on set that day, and we had to shoot all of our scenes that one day.
Wow.
And it was like, it was intense stuff. It's like, like, oh, your mom, we're gonna watch your mom die, and my wife. Oh, now I'm gonna abandon you, and all these things. Like it was all this heavy stuff. And she stepped up to the plate, we Zoomed before. I wanted to kind of develop a little bit of rapport, but it's a little difficult, to sort of be like, oh, build this history with somebody that doesn't exist immediately.
Yeah.
So it's been really great to work with her now. Like obviously, we don't have any COVID protocols like that anymore. So we get to like bond. Like she's so strong. She's really, I feel she embodies Nat really well with that girl's strength. Like I believe this is a girl who traveled across a universe to come save her father. You know what I mean? Like I think she does such a good job, and I'm really glad to see like her do some more fun stuff this season.
I'm not gonna lie, like watching. So when I was going through watching the whole show, I think it's, and I could, if I'm wrong, like I'm sorry guys, but I believe it's the end of season 1 where she lands like in the ship and you guys are reunited. I'm not gonna lie, that got me, like I teared up a little bit, like just the reaction between your guys' two characters. Phenomenal acting from both of you. Just that reaction, I was like, wow.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, she, like I said, she was great on that. Like, yeah, I didn't know she was going to come. They told me like maybe like a few weeks beforehand what we were going to do, and I loved it. A little behind the scenes, we did that. We did the like run and embrace a few times. One time, we totally slammed each other into each other's heads, and it was like one of those ow, like those situations, because it's a mess. But yeah, it was great.
That's great. Now, so John comes into the show trying to kill Superman, but now has become one of his closest allies in the show. Can you describe what it's been like working with Tyler and just watching that dynamic evolve between John and Clark throughout the series?
Yeah, that's been the fun thing. It's interesting. Like I do watch the show. Not everyone. I don't. I know some actors don't like watching what they do. I don't always watch what I do, but I'm generally a fan of the show. I would watch it if I was not on it. So I've actually watched a couple of times, oddly enough, episode 1 of this season where Clark, like John runs into him at the bodega, whatever it's called. Like, he's got the pregnancy test.
Yeah.
And just that, it was fun to shoot that because and honestly, the original scene had a lot more dialogue. They kind of cut it down and let us just act off of each other with reactions, because that to me is the pinnacle of seeing their character arc and their journey together. Like you talked about the idea of episode 1 where he's like, I'm gonna kill Superman, like, or episode 2 of season 1 where he's like at the console, like he's, just I remember the intensity of that, to now where he's like, oh, I can be happy for my friend, even though he's with my wife, sort of my alternate bizarro wife, and like they might be pregnant again. Like I can be happy for them because he's a good person. So it's just been fun, and Tyler's great to work with. Like he's super cool. We have a blast. Like the only time, like in back in the day, it was hard because it's like we have a blast on set, and there've been times where I'm like, sir, I have to hate you right now, and I need you to stop. Like I can't.
Yeah, we're not.
I can't like joke with you. I can't joke and then like drop it to I hate you. You know what I mean? I need a buff.
Yeah, no. I say, but now you guys are, pretty much like, best friends, like on the.
Oh, yeah, no, it's great.
Series.
It's fun. It's fun.
So, Now, I also think so. It's interesting how in season 1, John is the one who knows more about Superman, or at least thinks he knows about this Superman coming
Yeah.
onto the Earth. But in season 3, it's the opposite, where he's learning more, or Bruno, he has the upper hand. So, what was it like approaching things from the opposite side with your character for season 3, where you don't have as much knowledge where you did coming into, or you thought you did coming into
Yeah.
season 1?
Well, that's been the cool part. Like you said, it's like sort of discovering it as an actor and also discovering it as a character. You know what I mean? Like, okay, how is it to now he meets his sister for the first time? This Bruno Mannheim character who, I mean, I'm assuming existed in the my world, my version or whatever.
Yeah,
But to my knowledge, they never interacted. You know what I mean? Like I know my version interacted with Lex Luthor, but I don't know about this with Bruno. So yes, it's been interesting to see like how he doesn't have the upper hand. And I'm going to tell you, like I said before, it gets even crazier, and they have a lot of turmoil between the two. And that's the thing. It's weird. Like as an actor, I appreciate it because I get to go down a dark path. But as a fan of the character, I feel bad for him because I feel like John was starting to really come out of his shell, and Bruno's just going to bring him back down to being dark again. So but hey, you gotta protect the family. You gotta protect people.
Yep, like we said earlier, just poor John just can't catch a damn break on the show.
The man jumping from buildings. I mean, what do y'all do?
Now, do you being a big fan of the show too, or just like comics in general? Do you have like a wish list of characters that you would love to see appear on the show in some shape or form?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a balance because, like, I feel like they've done so many of them already because I know Supergirl used a bunch of the villains or whatever. So, because, like, everyone loves Metallo, but I was saying, like, for me, would it be interesting is if we had Toyman, just because, like, we can't get the Joker because the Joker's Batman. Yeah. But, like, I would just love a weird, because like, our show is so grounded and so kind of, like, heavy and dark. So the idea of having, like, Toyman on, what would that look like? Like, would he throw some evil Barbies at you? I would be fascinated. And of course, like, Granny Goodness.
Come on. Yeah. Like, so that would be like, yeah, it sounds like one of your like top ones.
Oh, 100%. I don't want Darkseid. I don't have to ever see Darkseid, but I want Granny Goodness. I care about Darkseid. Give me Granny Goodness. That's what I want.
Hey, well, like, hopefully like this show, lasts like several more years and we get to see some of these. I mean, just like Fingers the characters crossed that we've already gotten, we've got some great stuff on the show. So now, just to like wrap things up for you, Wole, as far as like what can, we've already gotten a little bit of a taste of season 3. What can you kind of tease fans, or what can they expect for the rest of season 3? And just anything else you want to say to the fans?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I know, like, what can I tease without like saying anything? It's weird. I mean, oddly enough, they dropped a trailer for Lex earlier today. I saw that. So that's coming. But keep it real, it's coming later. It's coming much later. I don't really like. I think the trailer was dropped kind of early to be just between you and I, like between you and me, whoever's watching this. Like, he's not coming till late in the season. So I mean, that's obviously something that's going to be huge because it's Lex. But like I said, Bruno, I think you got Onomatopoeia, which I was excited to see because I've never seen a villain like that before. So we got a lot of funny stuff coming up with that. Lois is going to get deeper into what's going on, and it's cool stuff. Is the best I can say.
Yeah. No, I mean it's gonna be exciting to watch, and like you said, it sounded like we're gonna get a lot darker too. So things I'm sure should be interesting. But at the end of the day, hopefully all of our characters get some like light moments. I hope at some point.
Yes. Yeah. No. There will be happy moments. There will be happy moments. And I'll say we're coming up. We got a couple episodes. Well, one episode at least coming up where John's gonna be a dad. And he's gonna be an awkward dad, and that was fun. That was fun to play with. So that's gonna be cool to see.
Can't wait to see that. Well, thank you again, Wole, for appreciate you coming on the show, taking time out of your schedule. I know you're busy, so thank you again for doing this.
No problem. Like I said, thank you for having me, dude. I appreciate it. Hey guys, this is Wolé Parks. I play John Henry Irons on Superman and Lois, and you are watching Pop Culture with Pat.